Meet Alice, a vivacious woman with a zest for life, a woman of strength and spirit who once danced through life with a song in her heart, but later on embarked on the most profound journey of her existence, motherhood. Before giving birth to my daughter, I'd like to clarify that the gender of my child is not accurate. I've chosen not to reveal my child's gender for personal reasons. My days were filled with laughter and camaraderie, adventurous travels, and a career I was passionate about. But when my daughter arrived, my universe expanded in the most beautiful way. I reveled in the anticipation of her first smile, her first word, her first step. My heart overflowed with love for this little precious angel who had made my world infinitely more vibrant. My daughter's infectious laughter and boundless curiosity brought a new kind of joy to my life, a joy that was pure, unadulterated, and profound. This is not a fairy tale, but a small part of my life's journey. If given a choice, this is not a trip anyone would choose. It is a journey that not everyone takes, a journey that causes shame, and a journey of grief, tears, and sorrow for parents with an autistic child. The journey has felt akin to navigating through an endless tunnel shrouded in darkness. If given a choice, no one would choose this journey. In the family, the mother becomes a myth that she raised her child badly. In the neighborhood, she is called a young mother who sacrificed her child for wealth. In the church, she becomes a mother of a child possessed by demons. At work, she is called incompetent and even gets bad grades. If given a choice, no one would choose this journey. I am a proud mother, though. Like any other mother, I was excited for the birth of my daughter. However, while in the labor room, the midwife who was assisting me was concerned about the swelling of my cervix. She gave me medicine to reduce the swelling, but it didn't help. As this was not my first time giving birth, I felt it was time to push. I pushed the baby, but the midwife pushed the baby with her hands due to the swollen cervix. I pushed again for the second time, but the midwife pushed her back once more. In excruciating pain, I questioned the midwife about the situation, as I had been pushing while she was pushing back. With a fearful tone, she responded, "The cervix is swollen. You can't deliver in this condition. You'll tear it." Despite my desperation, I insisted I would be fine, and she advised me to just continue pushing. With determination, I pushed, and my baby was born without any complications. The child grew up without any major problems, but as he turned 2, my world took an unexpected turn. My daughter was diagnosed with autism, a word that would forever change my life. When those words were uttered, a wave of emotions crashed over me. I stood in the doctor's office feeling as if the walls had closed in. The world, as I knew it, had shifted on its axis. All of a sudden, my dreams for my daughter, my hopes, and my expectations, they all seemed to blur into an unfathomable haze. The diagnosis was like a foreign language to me. It was a world I was unfamiliar with, a world I had never planned to explore. Autism, a word just 6 letters long, yet it held such power, such weight. It was a word that felt cold and clinical, yet it was now a permanent part of my vocabulary. The initial shock was overwhelming. I found myself spiraling into a whirlpool of confusion, grappling with questions that seemed to have no answers. What did this mean for my daughter's future? How would this affect our lives? What would the world look like through my daughter's eyes? And then, there was the fear of the unknown, the fear of what lay ahead, the fear of not being enough for my daughter, of not being able to give her what she needed, the fear of failing her as a mother. The days and weeks following the diagnosis were a blur. I spent hours upon hours researching, trying to understand what autism meant, what it would mean for my daughter, and what it would mean for me. I read books, scoured the internet, and reached out to experts. I was on a quest for knowledge, desperate to understand, to prepare, to equip myself for the journey that lay ahead. My daughter could not speak or follow any instructions and became very hyper, showing a strong addiction to digital devices. Additionally, she experienced difficulty chewing food and required it to be ground and mixed with soup in order to swallow. She couldn't use the toilet or potty and ended up soiling her clothes. It was heartbreaking for me to watch my child struggle without being able to call me Mum. Additionally, when she was sick, it was difficult to tell because her senses didn't function properly. One occasion, she had an ear infection and didn't cry, so I wasn't even aware that she was sick. One time I was holding my child while attempting to close a door, unaware that her fingers were inserted within its confines. While exerting force to shut the door, I subsequently observed that her fingers were entrapped within the door's closure mechanism, causing blood to shed on the floor. Remarkably, despite this incident, the child did not vocalize distress, thus obscuring any indication of pain or injury. Raising a child with autism presents a significant challenge in a society that doesn't get it or doesn't want to get it. The world can be pretty mean when it comes to autism, marked by pervasive negative perceptions surrounding autism. Navigating the journey as a parent can resemble a daunting ordeal. The landscape is rife with criticism and judgment from others' parents, who don't hold back from giving us hard time, questioning our parenting abilities, or accusing us of indulgence towards our child, thus spoiling our kid too much. Shockingly, some even think there is something spooky going on, like our kid is demon-possessed. Initially, I experienced anger and frustration, responding to such unwarranted remarks with assertions about the imperfect nature of the world and its inevitable trials, and that they'll have their own challenges someday. Over time, however, I've learned to shrug off their nonsense. I was often met with judgmental stares and unsolicited advice, but I stood my ground, my heart aching with every misunderstanding glance cast our way. The emotional toll was immense. There were days when I felt like I was drowning, my strength wavering under the weight of my reality. One day, from someone's advice, I consulted a certain doctor, in anticipation of finding solace solutions, gave me a disheartening prognosis. He conveyed that my child constituted a burden to both myself and my family, and would unlikely provide any assistance. These words resonated as a set of knives piercing my heart, leaving me in a state of constant pain. Notwithstanding the doctor's unfavorable remarks, I continued to perceive the inherent beauty in my child. She embodied a profound sense of aesthetic appeal, surpassing any previous encounters with beauty. I was grateful to the Most High God for entrusting her to me. Upon reaching the age of 3, I endeavored to enroll my child in school, yet encountered rejection from every institution visited, citing her condition as grounds for exclusion. It was a pill hard to swallow, as it underscored the absence of suitable educational options for my child. Compounded by the necessity for both my husband and myself to maintain employment for financial stability, the task of raising a child with special needs posed formidable challenges. Behavioral issues were another hurdle. Public tantrums were frequent, mixed with meltdowns. While taking my child to school, I hoped it would provide respite from the challenges posed by staying at home with babysitters. I plan to delve into the nightmare of leaving our kids behind with nannies in the next parts of my story. Stay tuned. There was a period when my child's mobility was restricted, leading to the development of peculiar behaviors, such as sucking on television cables, due to prolonged exposure. Moreover, the nanny would often leave her in the same diaper throughout the day, changing it only when they guessed we were about to come back from work. And when we surprised them, we could find the child is wet up to the nape of the neck. Coming back to the educational opportunities were limited due to the lack of accommodations for children with autism within the schooling system. Nevertheless, I persevered in my search for an inclusive educational environment. Eventually, I discovered a daycare willing to accept her. I wasn't thrilled, as I had hoped she would attend kindergarten rather than daycare at 3 years old. Despite initial concerns, I enrolled her there. At the time, he was still nonverbal, unable to self-feed or utilize the restroom independently, necessitating the continued use of diapers. Fortunately, she encountered an exceptional caregiver who significantly improved her quality of life. This individual was a true blessing, a God-sent angel. I will end the first part of my life story here. In the next parts, I will reveal the significant impact of my battle with depression and persistent seizures. I will also share the inspiring educational journey of my daughter, highlighting her remarkable success in school. Additionally, I will provide valuable insights to assist parents of autistic children to avoid the same struggles I faced. To continue following other parts of my story, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming content. And if you have any question on this story of mine, don't hesitate to throw a question or a comment in the chat bot. Until then, keep well.